Hey there, this is Michael with Buffalo Finances, and I wanted to talk about dumpsters really quick. When you're trying to figure out what data to track, it's really important to measure something that's useful. There's a lot of different things you can measure, and it can get overwhelming. But you don't want to track nothing, and you don't want to track everything because it won't be useful. I've been part of organizations where it took somebody an entire day, like all of their Friday, to create a report every week that the whole management team would be able to look at. And that was just way overkill because we couldn't analyze it as much as we wanted to anyway. So for the dumpster business, especially if you're smaller, you don't need to track a lot of things. So I track 3 things that I look at every single week, but we track it every day. So a report goes out every day that shows these 3 things, and it goes to our management team. The first thing is deployed dumpsters. How many dumpsters do we have deployed at any moment? So if you're small, you're probably trying to get to 40. That's like my magic number if you're a one-man show. And I do 40 per employee. That's what I want to have. And it's going to depend on how fast they turn. If they go slower, then you're going to have more dumpsters that are deployed. And so that's number 1. That's my favorite one. So I start with that one. The next one is number of hauls for the week. I track that per week. You could track it per day, but for me, it's way too up and down. A Monday is completely different than a Wednesday. Mondays are way heavier than us. Wednesdays and Thursdays are very light. So I do it by week, and I want to always make that number go up. But that's going to show you your seasons. So you're expecting to look at your hauls in the season. They should be similar year over year. You want them to grow year over year. That's the idea. And the last thing I look at is hours to hauls. How many hours does it take to do one haul? Which is a simple math equation. I take to the number of hauls, which I just told you about, and I divide that by the number of hours. And I do that on a weekly basis. So we track that weekly as well. And I can see it go up and down. All these things are dependent on your area and how you run your business. In my area, my target is 3 hours per haul on average. And that is across all the hours of all the employees that are working. At least I don't count myself in that. And I don't count other salary employees I have. But for all my hourly employees, I use that number. And if it gets really high, it should make sense that it's really high. If we have a lot of yard time, that number is going to go up, and that makes sense. And I want to see that come through the numbers. I'm not going to change them and modify them for circumstances. I'm going to pay attention to the numbers and see what happens. Because all the money that pays the employees has to come out of the hauls. So I have to make sure the hauls are efficient. And if I focus on that number and the employees know that number is being tracked, they're going to change their behavior. They're going to say, oh man, I really can't dilly-dally and take it slow because my ratio is going to be bad and it's going to come up in my performance review. That's the one the employees can control. The other ones they can't control. So we're not going to throw that on them. But those are my 3 things: boxes deployed, hauls per week, and hours per haul per week. And I compare that every single week, and I look at it over at least a 12-month period. So this is Michael with Buffalo Finances. Hopefully that's been helpful for you. You have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.